Friends and enemies, welcome to the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. Okay, we're starting a little early tonight. Why, Len? We don't want to compete with the Orange Man launching his shitcoin at 7:00 or 8:00, whatever time he's doing that. So we're starting early.
I can't believe he's doing it. I mean, who's advising him to go ahead with this? And we could talk about this later on. But like, I'm just
I actually have a source who tells me that there is an advisor behind all this, but I can't share it on the air. But I will tell you off the air.
I have an idea who it may be, but I don't even want to know. I'll leave it at that. I don't want you even to share that information with me.
It is what it is. It
is what it is.
It's politics season. That's what these guys do. They
sure is.
Lie, cheat, steal, and airdrop.
We have two by-elections today. We'll talk about that today.
Yeah, we will. So let's get into it. Sponsors, as always, first and foremost, Easy DNS. Your friendly neighborhood registrar. Buy a domain, port a domain, email, PGP, GPG, you name it, plus all your favorite Bitcoin-related stuff. On the virtual private server side, you want to do a Bitcoin node, Nostr relay, BTC Pay server. It's all available on EasyDNS. If you don't like the service you get from EasyDNS for some reason, you just get your money back. It's money back guarantee. There's no terms and conditions. There's no, insane hoops to jump through. You call the place. Mark probably picks up the phone, or someone that's one step away from Mark. And, whatever you need, you can get it taken care of. We use it for our website, CanadianBitcoiners.com. And you guys should use it too. CBP Media is the code. Go there, get 50% off your first round of buys, and start doing your thing, man. It's a lot of people out there want to watch a lot of stuff and read a lot of stuff. And, there's a place to do it on the internet, and EasyDNS will help you establish that place. Who's the next sponsor, Len?
Bull Bitcoin. And I just saw my block clock showing the price before it switched over. We're a hair under $58,000. What are we doing not being a 58K? This is a 58K world. Either way, Bull Bitcoin, they have you covered. If you're going to buy 58K or sell it 58K, you can do it on-chain. You can do it Lightning. Fees are still very low, so I would suggest don't take advantage of Lightning just yet, but learn the process when it's time to do so. But for the time being, continually buy on-chain, and Bull Bitcoin will be happy to sell you, or buy your Bitcoin at the on-chain. So
foolish to be selling. Wow. Not financial advice.
People could do what they want. I'm not explaining what's the best thing to do, but I would say Bull Bitcoin is the greatest place to buy or sell. You can also do other things over there. If you have a large stack of Bitcoin, you want to pay your bills, you have a hydro bill or something coming up, you want to pay it. You don't want to use your dirty fiat for whatever reason. You can use your Bitcoin, maybe your Bitcoin went up in value since you bought it and you want to start using it somehow. Well, Bull Bitcoin will let you use that to pay your bills. So pretty cool stuff. Another thing they have is you can buy gift cards. So again, if you have bought Bitcoin in the past and you've been holding it for a long time and it's, gone up in value, what are you going to do with it? Why not just use that in the real world? Indirectly buy these gift cards through Bull Bitcoin, and you could indirectly use your Bitcoin in the real world. So you're living on the Bitcoin standard. And the last thing, use our promo code if you haven't already opened an account. By doing so, and if you fund your account, provide necessary information, $21 will be added to your account. Check it out.
Is that not great? Bull Bitcoin is the best exchange in the world. Not just the best exchange in Canada, not just the best, exchange that's called Bull Bitcoin or uses red branding. It is the best exchange in the world. We're lucky to have those guys here. The third sponsor, I'm going to pull up the website here, Decentral Tech. Now, I would not normally pull up the website of the sponsor during the ad read, but I'm going to do it today. Why, Len? Because there's been a significant development in the world of Decentral Technologies. These guys are the best. Okay. If you want to get into mining, there's no better place to do it than with Jonathan and the boys. And boy, do I have a surprise for you guys tonight.
Actually, to the people that haven't even heard about it. Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah. There might be people who haven't heard about it. You can there's only going to be 75 of these things made. Okay.
I could tell you a bunch have already been sold.
Same. I know there's been a bunch of them sold. So tell me, like, if you are a serious fan of this program, okay, even if you just love to hate this program, like some of you do or did in the past, buy this thing. What do we get for every unit sold, Len? Nothing. What do we get for kickbacks? Nothing. This is all about just giving people who watch the show, listen to the show, a chance to buy something cool and get on the mining side of things for the first time. I know I ordered a few and I'm happy to pay for those, and I'm going to, keep them as a neat souvenir of this time. We've done some great stuff on this podcast.
Are you going to have it blaring behind you? I mean, not only blaring,
for sure.
It's so quiet.
For sure.
Have it
For sure.
See, I'm
100%.
debating where am I going to keep it, because I got one too, but where am I
I'm gonna find space on this shelf somewhere, and it's gonna go there 100%. So I'm looking for that. If you guys haven't bought one yet, $250 basically gets the thing shipped to you. If you want to get the lower end cooling or like the standard cooling, and 300 gets the thing shipped to you if you want like the highest quality cooler. Yeah. Oh, is there something that gets donated here? I don't know. Someone just told me this is something getting
Yeah, Jordan was mentioning that.
by purchasing, you're supporting their open source. Okay, so $5 from each sale goes to Open Source Miners United. Like you can't beat this. We get $0, and Open Source Miners United gets $5. This is incredible stuff, man. So shout out to Jonathan and the boys. If you want to get into mining, it's not just the BitAxe. They have all the stuff you like about mining, whether you got an S9, S21 at home, you want to heat your house, you want to cool your house, you want to look cool, you want to repair a board, you want to get a new board, all that stuff. They'll do it all for you. Not only that, Len, but they also will give you support for the products as well, not just physical repairs, but also helping you with troubleshooting. I've seen Jonathan actually, or someone from Decentral Tech, doing troubleshooting on Twitter, which has been outstanding to see. I will say that I've listened to a lot of podcasts. A lot of the sponsors are like arm's length away. You don't really hear much about them outside of the ad reads. Not ours. Okay. Mark is in the comment section. The Bull guys are in the comment section. Jonathan has not come to the comment section yet, but he will. And if you can't get him in the comment section, you can get him on Twitter. And so we are proud of that. We hope you guys patronize Decentral Tech. Again, we don't get anything.
Patronize us.
Yeah, I mean,
patronize them.
Patronize them. I don't want your money. I want you to spend it there and get on the network, get on the mining thing. I can't wait. I might do a video review of the BitAxe. Have you considered doing that?
Yeah, I did mention to Jonathan whenever we get our hands on it, because shipping is going to take place in mid-October.
Yeah, mid-October. You're about a month away from getting it shipped. Just FYI, that's all over the webpage, so you can't miss that. But just in case you do miss it, I'm saying it here as well.
Yeah. So I told him, if I get my hands in it, when I get my hands in it, I'm gonna do something. So yeah, I mean, one of us could do the unboxing, the reveal, and
awesome.
Give our 2 cents or whatever, 2 sats of what it's all about. It's gonna be quiet. It's gonna be fun. It's a lottery ticket. Every 10 minutes, it's a lottery ticket.
Are you running solo, or are you gonna point to a pool?
Solo.
Oh, wow.
Solo dolo with that guy.
True lottery mining. Wow.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
The odds aren't. I mean, they're high, but we'll talk about those odds in just a little bit.
Okay, so we have some housekeeping here. Tomorrow night, I will be talking to a young woman named Daniela, who I think goes to UVic. I have to look at her Twitter profile because I haven't looked yet. I just followed her today. Let me find it here. And she is going to talk to me about learning Bitcoin, which is
it's an event that's going on in Victoria. And
that's right.
Later this month.
It's about 12 days away. And so Daniela goes to UVic. So I'm looking forward to talking to her about learning Bitcoin, a little bit about her journey. You know, Len, we don't often, I hate to say this, but like, we don't often have like chicks on the show, women on the show. So I'm looking forward to like a different perspective here. And don't get me wrong, it's not because she's a woman that we're having her on. It's because this is a great initiative. And I want to hear more about this. The Bull Bitcoin guys are involved. And there's another sort of budding university-based or university-centric Bitcoin communities popping up around the country.
I have one that's going to be scheduling problems, but I have something that's semi-lined up.
Well, we need something for next week. So think about doing it then. I've been trying to email. I've emailed a couple of people today to try and get guests. Ben Rabideau is going to come on the show in October, which is going to be a lot of fun. But we're light because, you know, as we always do in the summer, I think both of us are thinking about other things maybe a little bit too much.
Well, I could.
So the schedule's light.
Somebody. Yeah, no worries. We'll get that filled. If not, you'll see our faces. Yeah, and our voices. Better for worse.
Or I'll call D and tell him to come over for an hour, one or the other. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to Daniela tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, if you guys have ideas for guests, as always, just send me a message. You guys, you know, some of you guys even have my phone number at this point, but you know, Twitter DM preferred, obviously, and let me know who you want to see. We're trying to get Carrie Lutz, who runs the Financial Survival Network. I emailed Gerald Salente today, so we'll see if he replies.
I don't even know who Gerald Solente is.
He's a great Italian economic commentator, runs the Trends Journal. Does not pull punches, Len. Does not pull punches. And then last week we had obviously Mark Jeftovic, friend of the show, the bomb thrower, come on. Him and I did about an hour. Lot of good content from Mark as always. He's always thinking, Len. You know, he's always thinking about what's next. He's always analyzing things through a. It's not. He's not the doomer that a lot of our guests trend towards, I think, which is good. He's like the white pill, black pill type, which is it's a refreshing interview. And obviously Mark and I are friends. Like we've done a number of shows together, some live, some not live. So you guys will enjoy that. If you haven't listened yet, go back and listen to last week's interview. That's all I got for housekeeping. You want to do some boosts?
Yeah, Mo BTC Dick 500 sats. He writes in, I need that CBP branded Bidax by Christmas, boys. So I think it's going to happen as long as you placed your order. Shipping starts the middle of November, and depending which shipping option you choose, you could get it even, I believe, next day is one of the shipping options.
Yeah.
So heck, you could get it so soon, well before Christmas. It could be your Halloween gift. Maybe even your Thanksgiving gift. We celebrate Thanksgiving.
I never thought, I did mention to you that I wanted to give a couple out for Christmas gifts, and I didn't order enough. Maybe I should order.
Oh, if you're going to do that.
I don't want to snatch up all of them. So
well, it's a free and open market.
Yeah, right? It's not, I don't know.
It's like when Satoshi started mining for Bitcoin, everybody had the opportunity to do so at that time. He just so happened, I mean, it's presumed that he mined $1 million. Nothing is confirmed. And that's a heck of a lot, but anybody else could have done the same thing. So look at it in the same light.
I'm gonna wait. Maybe people are waiting for paychecks. Maybe people are whatever. Like I'm not gonna do that. Maybe if they don't all sell out, I think they probably all will sell out. But if they don't for some reason, then maybe I'll grab the leftovers. Anyway, thanks for the boost, Mo BTC.
Well, Joe Ronan, double N, 1,000 sats. What a rip! Really enjoy this content. LFG indeed.
LFG, you got it.
Sir Snacks a lot. 1021 sats. He says, I love Len. I wouldn't have started listening to the CBP without him, but I'll be damned if Mark isn't to joy what Nico is from Simply Bitcoin is to Ben from BTC Sessions. Mark is as great as a monthly guest, or in this case, as a standing guest. Dude has vision for the future. So I think we finally found my replacement. This could be my last show. Thank you very much. I look forward to...
Are you keeping your CBP equity?
I clearly am going to be keeping it, right? So you guys run with this as much as possible. Keep going as hard as you can, and I'm going to reap the rewards of that. So yeah, thank you, Mark. And maybe I'll send you a few sats, a couple of boosts along the way. Keep this thing rolling. So yeah. Boss Strategies, 1420 sats. So 1,420. Don't understand it. Either way, he talks about the TFSA. We're having a conversation about that. He says it's one of the greatest investment tools across the planet.
Yeah.
Use it. He says, quote, there is no insurance, quote. I understand. Allocate accordingly. Do what you want.
Yep.
Like
I like the TFSA. The TFSA is superior to the RRSP for sure. No doubt about that. RESP also an inferior product in my opinion.
You could day trade in our RRSP, by the way.
You can to an extent. The government is kind of narrowing the definition, or I should say expanding the definition of day trading, right?
Within our RSPs are saying you can't. Okay.
TFSAs and RSPs. We have a friend actually, Len, a mutual acquaintance who received a notification that he was teetering on professional trading volume that would exempt him from the tax breaks, right? Because if it's income, then yeah. So
if it's a loss, does he get to say the same thing then?
Of course not. I mean, you know that. Come on.
You think we should do shitty trades to make sure just to stick it to the guy.
Start the Shitty Trades podcast and exempt yourself from all damages. Yeah.
So, Lightning Mick 2,100 sats. I like that number. He says he was going to tip on Noster this week, but it kept bouncing, so he was boosting here again. That's on Fountain. P.S. You don't need any fancy stuff to raise kids. He has 3 under teen years, and they need food, shelter, love, and support. Don't need booger suckers and fancy plastic toys.
It's a siphon, not a sucker.
It's depending on how you look at it. It's just, so although wooden blocks are a timeless toy. Cheers.
I plan on letting my dog and my young child entertain each other quite a bit. I think it would be good for both of them to build that relationship. My dog is so young. We didn't know we were going to get pregnant when we got Moose. We just wanted another dog when we moved here. So now they're gonna, grow up together, which will be nice. It'll be very nice.
It's a good thing to do, especially when they're young. They get knowledge around animals and stuff. As long as the dog is fine, like when it snaps back. But
no.
Yeah,
you've never met my dog, I guess. You've never come to the house. Yeah, that's right. You knew Scoop a little bit.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
This new dog is he's got a lot of spunk. This guy, he's got a lot of spunk. Anyway, we'll talk about
younger version, right?
Way younger.
So yeah, that's that. We could go on to the Bitcoin news.
Let's hit it.
Else.
I got nothing else.
I'm going to start off right away. I mean, we were talking about the BitX, and I was going to do solo mining. Somebody was posting on X that the odds of winning the California lottery is 1 in 11 million. That's for using a $2 ticket. And at the time he posted this, he said the odds of solving a Bitcoin solo block using a 700 gigahash per second BitX Supra is 1 in 5.9 million. If you go on the website solochance.com, you can simply just type in, you can go gigahash, terahash, petahash, whatever it is what you're doing, because this obviously changes and it gives you an idea about what are your odds per day, per block, and so forth. So I just typed in the 700 gigahash now. It's now 1 in every 6 million per day that you're going to get it. So I mean, they are astronomical in size in terms of finding a block with simply a 700 gigahash BitX, but it's better than the lottery in a lot of ways, right? And so I just like this, and I wanted to point it out for anybody out there that wants to do solo mining. Check out that website, solochance.com. I think it's accurate, but you may want to just verify that to be true.
That's good info. I had not heard of this website, so that's neat. So why don't we plug it in? What does the CBP BitX do as far as mining power?
He's using the S21 chip, so I think it was over 1 terahash per second. The exact number, gosh, it escapes me.
Okay, let's call it 1.2. Let's call it 1.2. Let's call it 1.2. Sure. Let's see. 1 in 500 million. Yeah, 1 in 500 million. 1 in 3 million per day. And
see, that's not bad. I mean, that changes over time.
It's not bad, Len. And if you live to be 9,600 years old, you're going to get a block. So,
yeah, just live long. Possible.
You know that guy Brian Johnson is like injecting his child's blood into himself every week. Like if we start doing that, 9,600 years, doable.
Who's he?
I don't know. I think he's like some kind of VC, but he's trying to like live forever. I don't know why you'd want to live forever. I'm already more sore than I've ever been at like 36. I can't imagine what you'd be like at fucking 56.
The only Johnson I recognize is Hal Johnson.
Or Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Or that one too, yeah.
Hal Johnson, one of the greatest under the radar sort of secret love stories, him and Joanne McLeod. Did you know that?
They're an item?
Yeah, they're married. They've been married a long time. And because interracial couples were still sort of taboo back in the day, I suppose you can't be around the opposite sex and just wear nothing but spandex for that long without having a little, sex. So
no, it makes sense that if they were working together and everything. That's pretty cool. Anyways, let's talk about Metaplanet really quick. And I don't talk about Metaplanet much these days, but each week, or at least it seemed that each week, they stopped for a little while, they were announcing that they were buying Bitcoin. And this past week, they snagged another 38 and almost a half, so 38.4 Bitcoin. And this brings their total Bitcoin holdings to a very respectable 399 Bitcoin in total. It surpasses our holding in the CBP treasuries, but we'll have to do something about that. If my math is correct, the average buy price is $67,000 or 9.4 million yen. So they bought all their Bitcoin at a very high price. Maybe my math is wrong, but 9.4 million yen is the number that I have here. And so just based on this, I just saw recently my block clock where it's just slightly under 58K. They're underwater with the average buy-in price. But the stock, though, is performing quite well. If you look at it, the last time they were at this price, at least as per this past weekend for the stock price, it was mid-July.
Yeah.
So that's not bad. They started announcing this buy way back when. I'm going to guess April of this year. Could be wrong in my timing, but it's at
least that long ago. Yeah.
And there was a run-up of the stock price since they started buying it. So clearly investors are liking this buy Bitcoin strategy. And in early August, they secured a loan to buy $6.8 million worth of Bitcoin. And that loan carried a 6-month loan interest rate of 0.1% per year. Very, very low. And that's like almost free money. I don't know how they secured it, but a week later after that, they bought another 3.4 million worth of Bitcoin. I'm just looking at that and I'm wondering, that loan value, that loan that they got was very cheap. It could be like a subprime thing, right? Like by the time this comes up for renewal, granted rates are going to be coming down for the next little while, but seems like that they're going to be renewing this loan at a higher value? Did they get like some favorable terms at a short period of time and then it's going to ramp up to something higher, just like subprime mortgages did? I'm just wondering if there's something here to it that I just can't see. That just, I don't know. It's not that this reeks of there's something wrong here, but I'm just trying to see, could there be something wrong here? I don't know. Just trying to raise some alarm bells, if any alarm bells need to be raised.
The collateral is what's important, right? So presumably the collateral is equity in the company, I think.
I don't know what they use.
I don't know if they use a Sailor playbook. Sailor today, by the way, you probably saw this. I don't know if it's in the notes for today, but another 700 million of private convertible senior notes.
That's on top of the 1.1 billion dollars they bought.
Yeah.
So that's almost 2 billion that they've gone ahead.
Which brings me to my next point, and it's a point you make all the time very astutely, that it doesn't matter if you're underwater now, because you're not going to be underwater for a long time, forever. And I think that you're at the point now, especially with, I think about this a lot, that guys like Sailor, Metaplanet, the company, and others, and even some really high net worth people who are just buying the ETFs, I mean, they see the writing on the wall maybe sooner and more acutely than you or I see it. And so if you and me know that global M2 is going up, like global liquidity is going up, and it is, even if US liquidity is kind of stalling, it's trying to make higher highs right now. If you look at a chart, the writing is on the wall that like you said, the cycle is turning back to a favorable thing for asset holders. Now, if you're someone who's, munching Cheerios and having a hard time putting food on the table, different story. I wish you the best of luck. You will need it. But I think a lot of people are realizing that the cycle is turning. And so Metaplanet is, doing whatever it takes to get that money. Sailor's $2 billion now over the course of about the last 2 weeks. And I suspect there's going to be many more. I can't believe, Len, that the price is not higher. And I think the meeting for the FOMC, or the comment from the FOMC, is Thursday, right? What's today? The 16th? I think it's the 18th. So maybe it's actually Wednesday. But
it's this week, Joe. Yeah,
it is this week. Yeah, they're going to get a cut. Loser Liz begging for 75 basis points, like literally on her knees, begging for 75 basis points on Twitter. And she's not alone, by the way. There are other people who, don't forget, called for emergency cuts around August 5th, begged for relief on August 5th. I think a lot of people are looking for 50. They're probably just going to get 25. But, not to make this a rate story, I just think that Metaplanet and others are seeing things really for what they're worth. And they have vehicles with which they can buy Bitcoin that retail just doesn't have. And I would say that if you have to pick between these guys who have not just skin in the game, like it's their entire reputation professionally. We've talked about the reputational risk of buying Bitcoin. It's potentially their equity in companies that they built. Semler is a great example as well. Semler is run by a guy whose last name is Semler. Like, he's not just a VC. It's like his baby. These guys are all in on something that a lot of people still don't understand. And God bless you if you understand it, man, because you're so far ahead of the curve. Meanwhile, you got people saying that, oh man, you got to buy whatever, NVIDIA. Like, I don't know. You can buy NVIDIA. I'm not throwing shade. Like, I know friends of the show are big NVIDIA people. My wife and I have NVIDIA in our joint account. But I just think if you're not allocating to Bitcoin now at a super high level with all this stuff coming down the pipe, it's going to be to your detriment long term. No doubt about it. I don't think, not financial advice, but no doubt about it.
Senator Warren saying she wants a 75 basis.
Can you believe how pathetic that woman has become? Like, just begging. These people will say whatever it takes to get votes, they will fucking say it with no remorse and no introspection, none. Well, this is supposed to be an independent entity. It is maybe the most important independent entity on the planet. Whether you think they're competent or not is a different story. But they cannot be politically influenced, at least not this overtly, through this kind of quote unquote outreach by Warren, these like open letters. And it happens here too. Like Premier Ford begging for rate cuts, our finance minister saying that their policies have led to like, this is just not how this is supposed to look. And
they're representing a bunch of people that if you look at it from a different point of view.
Yeah, the Cheerio eaters. I know. Yeah.
And they're just simply relaying the thoughts of the masses and bringing them an idea. And clearly she wants to see, for whatever reason, that it cuts 75 basis points. But the fact that she's saying 75 basis point cut, I think we're going to have a raise of 25 basis points. So consider that maybe a lock. So it'll be raising next this meeting. Who knows?
I wouldn't be surprised if they raise again next year.
No, who knows? Hey, everything is on it. Anything
Tyson
can happen,
zone.
and
Tyson
nothing's going to phase me.
Tyson zone. Anything is possible now. You know, you're in the event horizon here, circling the black hole, right? Like you don't know what's coming next, but it's not going to be fun. I'll tell you that.
You were mentioning you were shocked that the price of Bitcoin isn't higher. And last night I saw my block clock was just a little bit under 58K. We'll call it 58K because let's meme this thing back into existence. It's still 5% interest rates. They haven't, in the United States Federal Reserve, they haven't lowered the rates at all since raising it aggressively for the past few years. Right. So it's been sitting there. Granted, gold is going up and silver too. And equities, a lot of equities have gone up. I mean, select equities. Bitcoin's going to absolutely rock once they start cutting these rates. But everything I also mentioned is going to rock as well. Let's see which is going to be the fastest horse in this race.
It's crazy. Like I said to Mark the other night, I think a lot of people for the first time realized that all they had to do was not sell and wait out the cuts. And I think you see this in retail, right? You see credit expanding for retail, both lines of credit, equity loans, credit cards, you name it, all expanding. I don't think there's a huge portion of the population who needs that stuff to live for sure. But I think there's another portion of the population who's sort of in the Goldilocks zone where they don't need that stuff to live. They could sell equities to supplement their income during difficult times or during high rate times or whatever, but they didn't sell. Instead, they looked at what was going on around them and they have some rudimentary understanding of rates high, things hard, rates low, things easy, rates high, assets low, rates low, assets high. And so they just said, okay, well, I'm going to do whatever I have to do and not sell. And you could say that that's anecdotal, but I would posit to you, listener, viewer, gold all-time high, real estate all-time high, Bitcoin near all-time high, S&P near all-time high, NASDAQ near all-time high. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. They're going to cut into an all-time high for the first time ever. And more people than not, institutional and retail, who are competent investors, even if the level of competence is very bare bones, they understood it. And this is the first time that's ever happened. So let's see. I predict that this is going to be a lot of fun this easing cycle for us anyway. I don't know about everyone else, but we're going to have fun.
Retail, for the most part, is going to be sitting on the sideline. I don't think they have the ability to buy in, given the fact that everything is costing.
It's not about buying in though. It's about
even holding in whatever they have.
But someone has held, right? Because everything is at an all-time high. So that's not just institutions. And by the way, when people say, oh, it's institutional money, institutions buy on behalf of retail. So like if you're having your money managed by one of these funds or you're buying an ETF, whether that's the VFV ETF, the SPY, whatever, like that's maybe institutional money, but it's not all institutional money.
Do you remember how much of an effort, a coordinated effort it required to move GameStop? And that was a stock which was shorted heavily. And so, great intelligence and great ability to rally the troops. But that's how much it was required. And granted, it was a short squeeze. It was a different situation. But I think retail has some power. I don't think they're a big component here. They're just a small variable in the equation, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. There's no way to find out. There's not a lot of transparency that in that way, probably for the best. But
speaking of that transparency, do you buy into the theory? And I don't, that BlackRock and Coinbase, they're not settling on chain.
It's ridiculous.
So the theory for people that are just tuning in and don't understand, the theory is that they're Coinbase, the holder of the ETFs. I mean, they're the custodian of it, a lot of them, they're not settling on chain. So there's a lot of paper Bitcoin that's being transacted, and hence the price isn't moving the direction it should be if there be a lot of buys or sells of Bitcoin through the ETF. And in one way or another, that is either manipulating the price, either holding it down or making it. Either way, that's the theory behind it. I don't totally buy into it. I don't entirely buy into it. But it's made a lot of headways, a lot of waves in the Bitcoin Twitter world. And
I don't buy it at all. It's not believable.
I'm just surprised that
the amount of I mean, Bitcoiners are so funny, right? On one hand, we will literally dunk on any bolt or screw falling out of any airplane and call it a DEI and say the whole company is rotten to the core because of, a door fell off a plane. And then on the other hand, you're telling me that like all these government agencies, Coinbase, BlackRock, a dozen legal firms, whatever, are all coordinating to what? Suppress the price of Bitcoin. They don't care that much. They don't care that much. I hate to break it to you, but they don't care that much. And it's extremely illegal and extremely difficult to coordinate. The prisoner's dilemma does not look favorably on this level of coordination, especially when the stakes are this high. So I would say just cool it on the, coordinated effort to suppress price. Are they settling on chain? I don't know. Like they're doing what is legally required of them. Coinbase is the custodian for all the ETFs. Coinbase is basically an arm of the US government. It's hard to break these laws and not be outed by somebody along the way. You can't even give the debate questions to the candidate without someone putting an affidavit out. Like, what do you think? These guys they're all just, come on, give me a break. This is in line with like the gold price suppression stuff, right? I don't buy it.
There may have been. I haven't looked into that gold price stuff, so I can't really give an answer.
There was a fine issued for someone like harming the gold price or harming the, what would the term be? Legitimacy, I guess, of the market price. But it's too like Bitcoin is a $1 trillion+ asset traded all over the place, not just at Coinbase. Like there's a million other exchanges, a million other countries doing ETFs, all this. Like it's just so difficult to imagine this is going on. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So let's move on. We'll talk about Bitcoin Core. For those who follow and run Bitcoin Core, it looks like there's a new release candidate that is being tested right now. And this is Bitcoin Core version 28.0. The latest stable as of right now is 27.1. And they have a roadmap to release a new major version of Core every 6 to 8 months. And version 27.0 was released in April of this year. So if you do the math, could be December-ish, November-ish, maybe just October before we see version 28.0 release. But either way, some of the goodies in this, there's one of the things is support for testnet 4, and that's going to be replacing testnet 3. I don't want to get into that too much, but it's a getting rid of and something that has testnet 3 has some problems with it, with the ability to hack it or attack it. Sorry, to attack it with GPU only mining. So that's something else. But the good thing that they have here is full RBF. That's now included. It's set by default that full RBF.
RBF is replaced by fee for people who don't know. Yeah.
And it took years to get to this point, but now it's finally going to be included in a version of Core that you don't have to now manually edit your bitcoin.conf file to include it. It's going to be now included as default. So pretty cool stuff. There's other small changes that really won't impact the majority of users here. So really the big thing is going to be the RBF is going to now be included. So I like that. That's pretty cool. So once that comes out, I think that's going to mothball version 24 of Core. I believe that's the case, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think this is neat. RBF is way overdue. It should be easier for people to use and more accessible. I think, is it mempool.space to put in their own version of RBF?
Maybe. I mean,
I think so. Or child pays for parents, something like that. They did so, it was some accelerator to get you into a block after.
There is an accelerator.
Yeah. So this people are looking for this stuff, and as layer 1 costs go up, you're going to find that more and more people are interested in amending their original request for transaction. So I think this is great. I think this is really good. When are you going to install this on your stuff?
I run version 24 point something, so I'm far behind. Whenever they stop releasing any updates for 24, then I'll move to 25. I like going to the oldest one that's still being maintained.
Because that's a safer sort of
I like something that's been tested for a little bit longer.
Right,
Not to
right,
say that
right.
28, whenever it gets released, is not. I mean, it's just being thoroughly tested now, but just for my own peace of mind, I like to have something older. Even my version of Linux is Debian. It's notoriously old. Very well documented, very well tested, but in terms of having it the latest and greatest, it does not have it. It's so there, so old. But that's just the way I like it. I want stability versus anything else. So
Yeah.
move on. Some guy on X called the Smart Ape posted a note that his brother was wrecked, and Buddy lost some $25,000 in digital assets, aka mostly shitcoins, to what he describes as North Korean hackers. And those damn North Korean hackers, they're at it again. Here they are. So Buddy's brother was using a ledger, and that is not the weak link. So as much as we talk about Ledger in a negative light, it's not the weak link here, as per the X post, was he had, I'm quoting this here, like I'm just reading what he wrote. He had 2 copies of his seed phrase, one on paper stored in a locked safe. That's the right way to do it. Stored, great. Preferably not on paper, could,
But
get
have it
moved.
somewhere physically. Yeah.
Yeah, and then locked, that's great. But the second he had a photo of the paper stored on a secure folder on his phone, and the phone was infected with spyware from a TV streaming application.
What?
And yeah, he installed some sort of TV.
Wait a minute. Did we not cover this on Access of Easy last week? We did.
This particular story, no.
We didn't. This sounds
all...
awfully familiar. Oh my God, I'm having a Mandela moment here. Anyway, okay, continue.
So yeah, anybody that could, with a clue that could put 2 and 2 together here, can understand that is not one way you should be securing your seed phrase. Don't be taking pictures of it. Use this for everybody out there that is properly or want to properly secure their seed phrase. Use this as a learning tool. Somebody else made the mistake. Learn from that. Don't be learning from your own mistake, because it can be very costly. This guy, $25,000 of his mostly shit coins are gone, and learn from it. So don't store it on a photo on your phone. The first thing he did on paper in a lock safe, pretty good. I would say stamp it on a metal seed, on a metal plate. That gives you some protection from fire and water damage. Do stuff like that. Storing on your phone, hell no.
What? What? It's like would you take a picture of like your credit card and put it on your phone, or like
people do that? I think with their
number.
I think for the Google Pay. I don't know if Apple Pay has the same thing.
Apple Pay. Apple Pay is not a picture. It's like a thing that goes through your bank.
But I remember when I first had, like, when I did it a long time ago. I haven't done this in a long time, but it took a picture of my credit card, unless things have changed. How did you enter
it through the TD app?
Okay. See, things may have evolved.
Yeah. I mean, I would not be taking pictures of anything, man.
You're right.
Not even years ago.
Don't take a picture of that.
No, 100%. There's enough pictures. There's enough pictures of my dangly parts floating around from 15 years ago, I'm sure. But like the thing I would say to people is there is no such thing as a secure folder, right? I think that's safe to say. I'll quote friend of the show, NVK, once again: treat your Bitcoin like it's worth 10 times what it's worth today, because people who are going after it are attacking you like it's worth 10 times what it's worth. And again, like, this is not Access of Easy, but we say this in Access of Easy a lot. Be careful what you download off the App Store. Like, how many times have we talked on this show about like different wallets, phishing information and stuff like that? Probably a half dozen or a dozen by now over the years. There's other apps that are trying to get your stuff too. It's not just fake wallet apps. It's, your Funko Pop centric streaming service garbage that just watch Dragon Ball Z on YouTube or whatever. Go buy the DVD set. DVDs never try and hack your phone, I'll tell you that much. Do you even have a DVD player anymore?
Yeah, I think my PlayStation 5 functions, is it?
Does it? I was just about to ask. I don't know if it does or not.
If not, maybe I have some other. The Wii U, I think, still functions. Is it? So
maybe, yeah, maybe.
But either way, this guy got wrecked, and it's now gone off to Kim Jong-un's palace over there. So he's going to buy some more basketballs, or the fuck he's going to buy.
Yeah.
So since we were on the topic of Ledger, let's talk about, somebody posted a picture of the security of Ledger. And he says, basically it says, can Ledger share your seed phrase with the state? It says, one of the things, legal compliance. Governments could potentially access your seed phrase via subpoena if you use Ledger Recover. So people that are using Ledger and Ledger Recover, it's possible through a subpoena that governments could access your seed phrase. Just throw this out there for people that are still using Ledger and also the Ledger Recover option. So yeah, be careful. That's all I would suggest.
You should not be using Ledger Recover anyways. Even if you have an old ledger, like I've said this before, the old ledgers, the Nano, is it X or S? I forget. The original one with like 2 buttons and the thin screen that everyone had when you first started. Everyone had these.
Yes. Yeah.
Those things are so low tech, they don't even have Recover. Okay. So you're okay. But the idea that you would ever give your key to a service which could then be accessed by the government is way too much. When you couple this with the news out of Australia from earlier this week, that they're going to criminalize under penalty of, I think, fine or jail time, probably your assets be at risk too, Anon. So it's not just gonna be you behind bars with Jose. It's going to be your assets frozen thanks to Ledger Recover. You're not allowed to say anything online that calls into question the stability of financial markets or the banking system anymore. And so how many Bitcoiners are tweeting constantly, I am, about the cracks in the foundation of the financial system? They're everywhere. Even financial, even traditional finance guys. You know, if you look at Keith Dicker, a friend of the show's Twitter profile, every day he's talking about how weak the Canadian dollar looks and how you got to get out of CAD. He doesn't say it outright, but that's what he means. And he says it on Looney Hour. You know, Len, there's something about preparedness that seems to worry governments, and you don't want to be in a position where you're the enemy of the state over trying to be prepared, especially if someone else has access to your Bitcoin, right? It's not that hard to figure out. The calculus is not that difficult. Okay. It's not discrete mathematics. This is long division. And it's very simple to think about how that might play out. So I would say secure your stuff as best you can, and don't let anyone else have any say in that or impact you in any way, because at some point, you know, I said this in the summer too on my panel with Francis and Madex. If you think that you're going to be able to escape the calamity without a target on your back, you're fucking nuts. And that target, it seems to me, is inching ever closer, sort of day by day here. So you don't want to be in a situation where Ledger decides whether or not they're going to give up your keys.
I think that the rule of thumb that I always go by is, as long as it's air gapped and you've never exposed that signing device to the internet and those keys to the internet, you're okay. Yeah, so once you start breaking any of those rules, it can be problematic. Agreed. But just make sure you don't do any of those things. If you keep your keys secure from the internet, never going on there, and if your signing device has never been attached to the internet, you're good. So something like Cold Card works really well, and you can set it up in an air gap way. Other devices too can do the same thing. Just do your research, something that works for you, and follow those simple rules of thumb. You should be okay.
Yeah.
And
agreed.
passphrase too. If you could do passphrase, as Benny says,
you should always do a passphrase. Yeah. Passphrase is easy. It just functions as a 25th word. Basically, it's, you know, you can't go wrong with that. It's a very simple thing to add.
See that the Kingdom of Bhutan now owns quite a bit of Bitcoin. Now over 13,000 Bitcoin in total, because they've been mining.
Another place with more than us.
This is a country though, so they have a lot of more resources than we do. And they've been using green energy from hydroelectric dams to the excess energy to mine Bitcoin. And there are periods of time where they have excess energy, and there are periods of time they don't have enough. So it just depending on the season. So they've been doing what they can for the past little while. We talked about this story when it first broke. So up until now, they've been mining whenever they had the excess energy, 13,000 Bitcoin in total. That's around $750 million that they have on their balance sheet. That's more than a lot of companies out there, including Bitcoin miners, that have it. And so they are a bigger player, small country, but they're doing what they can. They're not selling it for the most part. They're mining and holding on to it. They're going to make great gains from this. I mean, as long as Bitcoin continues on this same trajectory where it has been going, fuck, they're going to be sitting on a proverbial gold mine. And what are they going to do with it? Who the hell knows? But it could find a host of things that they could do over there. Improve services, healthcare, roads, what the fuck they want to do. Just opens up doors. I'm not sure if they're in debt with the IMF or anything. Maybe they could use that to pay down debt. Right? Just it's more options they have now than they didn't have before. And what are they using? Just simply excess energy.
Yeah.
This is going to be a template that's going to be followed.
El Salvador just said they're not going to use external like debt financing anymore, right? Through the IMF. I think they just said that last week. So like they're
this week.
Yeah. So
I mean the past week. Sorry,
you know what I mean, though. Like fairly recently. So to your point there, that I so unceremoniously interrupted.
No, it was me that interrupting. My
so I would say you're right, Len. It's going to be a template. You're seeing it all over the place. And by the way, you're not just seeing it with countries. You're seeing it with everyone who holds Bitcoin, right? They're changing the rules of the games and the silos they're in. MicroStrategy and the idea of this metric of sats per share, and countries with the idea of this excess energy going into the hardest money, right? These countries, by the way, would do this with gold, I'm sure, if they could. But what they're seeing here is an opportunity to get the superior digital version in a way that makes sense and I think will insulate them from a lot of trouble down the road. You're 100% right.
Think about the countries in the Middle East that have all this excess energy.
They
have to be doing this, and they don't have to report it at all. I'm surprised that they're doing this type of reporting in Bhutan. I'm guessing because they're partnering with Bitdeer, and there has to be some sort of reporting requirement. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Or their holdings, Druck Holdings, that's their investment arm that's involved. Maybe there's some requirement that. But either way, I don't think the same type of bullshit has to be applied in the Middle East, like in Saudi Arabia or wherever. They can just simply do things on their own, mine Bitcoin, put in a balance sheet. You have no idea who the fuck has that, where it's going to, and who has ownership of the keys. Again, I can't believe the price isn't going higher. Just to go with your point, because that's a lot of Bitcoin that's just probably being mined and held.
Oh yeah, man.
It's only 450 Bitcoin a day. That's mine.
No, it's a huge number, and don't forget, like the U.S. is not energy independent at the moment. They've gone through this disastrous policy period. I don't want to say decades because it hasn't been decades, maybe half a decade, where like there's no nuclear, they refuse to drill, they import energy from other places, and they refuse to spend any money to fix any of these problems. The thing about a place like the UAE is that they are not only controlling their own energy and can use it for Bitcoin, they're also controlling yours. Like they're controlling your energy through the price of oil, through OPEC plus, through all these things. Like there's so much going on these days that I think a lot of people are just sort of missing the forest for the trees sometimes. They're looking at one specific thing, right? Like El Salvador is mining Bitcoin. Okay. Bhutan is mining Bitcoin. Okay. But think about the broader repercussions, the broader implications. Energy is the tie to the natural world. And I know someone on Twitter, maybe it was Carlos Sari today, talking about how Bitcoin is not energy money. Well, Joe, I think you're wrong. And here's an example of why. All these energy players, all these energy big players abroad and even domestically here in Canada is a good example too, right? We've done all the wrong things while these guys have just been unrelenting in refusing to bow down to the green nonsense, refusing to bow down to any ESG related garbage when it comes to black gold. And now I think you're probably right, Len. They're going to look at Bitcoin and say, man, it'd be nice, even if we don't go all in, we should go a little bit in. We should go a little bit in. Something to be said for all these other countries and institutions, even in the United States, like we've talked about before. If the guys who benefit the most from the Cantillon effect are going into Bitcoin, what does that tell you about the state of the dollar and the currency over there and the US economy? I think the answer for what it tells you is everything you need to know. And other countries are not just going to ignore it. They're paying attention and they're acting accordingly, I think. And we talked about this for a long time. Everything happens slower than you think it's going to happen, Len, but I don't know. Do you want to have a little fun here? Like, let's put a time frame on this. A UAE country, an OPEC country announcing that they're producing Bitcoin through mining. 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? Where do you come down?
I think it's already happening in terms of announcing it. I don't know. Do they have to really announce it? Why would they? Couldn't they simply just do it all in house? They have the means to secure and get their own equipment. They probably
No, I'm not saying they're going to announce for that reason, but you could deal a death blow to the US dollar. at some point, right? Like at some point, the
Oh, I
crack in the
see.
dam will
Yeah.
be big enough that you could, drop a sledgehammer in there and bring down the Hoover, to put a,
But
to put a
those
visual on
people
it.
that are
But
running the Federal Reserve, they would just simply say, look, these guys are just monetizing excess energy. They're not doing this as a way to cripple the
yeah,
US
but I
dollar.
don't think. See, I think 10 years ago that would have worked. Now I think that's like the cry of a scared animal. I just wrote this on Substack the other day that I think now you're looking at every time the government down talks Bitcoin, it's viewed as the whimper of a dying sort of animal, as opposed to defending the currency for the good of the people. I don't think anyone believes that anymore. And I've said that before. QTR and Lepard and I were saying that back in February, that now anything that looks anti-Bitcoin, either in practice or in in theory from a government, is going to be viewed as they're scared for sure.
Yeah.
And you can see it, like Australia banning talk that may imply that the markets are not stable. Like, that's crazy. Are they going to start sending short sellers to jail? Like, what are they going to do? People who go to the currency exchange to get out of Australian dollars and into US dollars, like, they're going to take their names. They're going to get put on a watch list. Like, what are they going to do? Put them in the
Who
COVID
knows?
camps? Did they bulldoze the COVID camps? Are they still up over there in prison colony Australia? I don't know.
They're shipping them over to Nova Scotia so they could build a 70 square foot homes.
Oh boy.
What happened to me today? I mean, I'm going to go on a tangent here. At lunch, this was actually pretty interesting. The first time I've ever encountered a shitcoiner in a while like this. But I go to the tennis club that's near my house, and for lunch I go there to hit serves. Did that today, and it was quiet. It was just myself on one court and just two other people on a different court hitting it. And I just overheard them talking about Bitcoin, and so I'm like, what? My ears started ringing. What the fuck's going on here?
Couldn't help
And
yourself.
the guy was like, and I'm almost going to quote him. He's like, yeah, XRP, it's gonna go
Holy
nuts.
fuck! People are still
The
talking
backbone of the financial thing. Get the fuck out of here, you shitcoiner! I can't believe there's still people out there that are still talking about XRP as a way to like move the financial world in the future. And I don't get there's still people that are looking at that as they're just looking for exit liquidity at this particular moment.
They're full of shit. Yeah, their bags are talking for them. Exactly. That's exactly.
I don't understand. Like, what the fuck? Do you think the Federal Reserve is going to give up any sort of power? Clearly, they're holding on to everything. You're not going to go in bed with somebody that was
Jerome
sued.
Announcing the XRP standard this week.
But they were just sued by an arm of the government, the fucking SEC, right? Like, you know what? We're wrong. If you can't beat them, we'll join them. Anyways, last Bitcoin-related story we'll talk about is there's going to be a shitcoin. It looks like that's going to be released today, 8 o'clock. At least
that's why we're doing the show early, man. Yep.
Yeah, surely you're going to get rugged if you get involved with this, but again, not financial advice. World Liberty Financial, World Liberty Fi is the ticker or whatever it is on Twitter or X. And 8 p.m. it's going to be released to the world. Trump is going to be doing one of his Twitter Spaces, I guess, from Mar-a-Lago. And Rug Radio was reporting on this. Rug Radio.
I love it.
Is that what's going to happen? It's funny he's doing this at a time when the SEC has been sending out these Wells notices to all these places. They fucking launched lawsuits against shit like Ripple because they deemed it to be, or they thought it was a security to laws. The courts didn't agree with them. But why the fuck would you go ahead and go through with this? You're just putting. He already has a mark, like a target on him. Now he's going to get a fucking another target on him. But this one is going to be from the SEC. It's like, I don't understand what's the purpose of this. Who is he trying to cater to this? And what is the strategy to simply get more money for his campaign? I'm just at a loss here, but I guess we'll know at 8 p.m. like what the fuck's going on.
Mark wrote a piece that ended up on Zero Hedge about this, that he was talking to us about, I think, in the lead up. This is the first time, I think, that a candidate for president has done an illegal securities offering, 2 months before the election. I'm pretty sure. Can you think of another time this happened?
I haven't followed an election this closely.
What is going on in the Trump camp? He's unprepared for the debate, if you ask me. Okay, don't hold your tomatoes, but unprepared for the debate, I thought. Now he's got a security token launching and he's doing a space about it. Like, your time certainly could be better spent somewhere else, couldn't it? If you're serious about, the whole MAGA thing. But I mean, neither candidate is serious. Kamala's not doing a token launch, so kudos to her. I guess that's the first and last time you hear me say that. But Trump, these guys are dumb, man. They're just dumb. They're just dumb. This is why politics is just a kind of a theater sideshow for low IQ Cheerio munchers. What else can you say at this point? Like, I don't know. I can't even wear my MAGA hat in jest anymore, can I? Like, I got to retire the thing. I can't put it on this program anymore.
I don't understand what could he say with this World 5 bullshit, World Financial 5? Like, what? Do you know what
the pre-mine is? Like, what's being held by the insiders?
No,
70%. 70%.
So it's ETH 2.0.
It's worse. It's worse.
They were 70%.
Were they? Oh wow, that's so bad. Wow, people calling. Are the ETH guys calling this a scam? Do they realize they're looking in the mirror? The call is coming from inside the house.
Are you going to watch Bankless and try to get some intel on that? See,
I haven't listened to Bankless in a few weeks. I used to listen to the weekly roundup because it was good. It was good for the show, but now I found like other sort of more competent people. Let's see what Bankless has on this. I mean, it's assuming like
this is all recent though.
Yeah, but they still deal in this stuff.
No, I mean, it's the fact that it's recent. Would they have released anything? You're looking at through their Twitter feed or through their?
I'm looking through the podcast archive. No, so
they probably wouldn't be there. It's too soon.
They have the digital assets head from BlackRock today. I might listen to that. Actually, that's probably not bad.
Oh my god! You know what? I fucked up by bringing them up. Now I brought you back into the fold to listen to this fucking.
I'm back. I tried to quit David. I tried to quit David and Ryan, Sean Adams, or whatever his name is, and I just keep getting sucked back in.
Oh. Whatever, like I to go back, I'm not sure what tokenomic he could bring up. I'm talking about Trump to say that this is gonna be fucking great. 70% pre-mine. That's obviously.
Where's Barron? Where's Barron? Barron should be telling him this. Like he's a 20-year-old guy or whatever he is, 18. Like, come on, bro. Unless he's in on it, I don't know.
Who knows? But that's it, Joey. We're close to an hour in. Let's
okay.
This fucking segment.
Let's get over to the notable stories here. Stick with us if you're on video or on Spaces, and if you're not, well, we'll see you tomorrow like usual, buddy.
Yeah, and don't be a cock.